now video's rolling.
Well, we had to really sort of take a shot at this, didn't we? I mean, the infamous Escort Mexico. Now, these are a special edition. This probably isn't a Mexico. It's probably a fake. Definitely judged by the motor that's in it. But when these were new, they were an astounding car. And the reason they were so astounding is they were rally cars. And that they did so much amazing work. Like, they won everything, basically, they entered into for years and years and years. And this was Ford's absolute rally killer. Like, they came with a twin cam 1600. The Mexico originally only came with a basic little Ford Kent engine, 1600cc. The RS2000 was a 2 litre, and then the king of them all was the twin cam, and that was the 1600 BDA, which was a giant killer of a car. Now this is beautiful. I think the colour is Olympia blue, if I remember right. But it's been a lot of years since I messed with Escorts. But they came with this, like, this was Ford's badge engineering. So you could buy an Escort in every type of grocery getter you wanted. But then once you started getting into the sporty ones, you got the stripes. You got the wheels, you got the steering wheel, you got the seats, and all of a sudden you transform your humble little mum's Escort into like a wicked little race car, you know. And like Ford started experimenting with the GT stuff before this. Like there was the Mark II Cortina had a GT version, you know. The Capri was around the same time. I think the Escort was 68, the Capri was 69, if I remember right. But all of a sudden, this was serious rallying car technology. This was as good off the road as anything else. And it was beating everything. It was just absolutely hammering everybody, to be honest. And it's such a simple thing. You know, it's a 6-dial dash, little RS steering wheel. They used to have a slightly different one, if I remember right. You know, a higher back chair. But otherwise, this is how you make a sports car. Light, affordable, cheap, absolutely modifiable. You could just modify it and modify it and modify it and modify it again. And even now, they still exist just because of that. People bought these cars in the 70s and they loved them so much. They own them to this day. There was nothing else to replace them. If only they made cars like this today.
If only.
If only. But I mean, you could basically start with an 1100 Ford Escort, buy your mate's crashed RS2000, and half a day later, you've got an RS2000. You know? But this has got I think it's a Focus ST motor in this. But this would be ballistically quick, you know? And it's lovely. It's all standard on the outside. It's got a sort of a modified motor in it. Running throttle bodies. Yeah, lovely. Very nice. And since we're talking about Escorts, we should obviously go to the last version of it, really. The Escort Cosworth. Now, this was a giant killing monster. When they built this seriously for rallying. They took the standard car, but this is 4-wheel drive. This is turbo to the maximum. This was one monstrous vehicle. Like this didn't really follow the super lightweight, super easy to modify version that the original Escort did. And this told you where it was coming. By the time that they designed this in the 90s, this was your full fat version. Like Ford had badge engineered cars bit by bit by bit. I mean, for next door to it, we've got the XR 4x4, which is basically a Sierra, which still looks like it. But the more that Ford got into the design, the more muscular they became. I mean, this is blatantly a fast car. It looks like a fast car. Unfortunately, it looks like a fast car to everybody, and it was a fast car. And then it became the favourite of burglars and robbers, armed robbers, thieves. Anybody who's going to rob something, Cosworths were the way to go. So the 3-door Cosworths and these, insurance murdered them. The insurance on this was as much as the car was new. So if you bought it, same price. Spoilered up, you know, this was the dream car for a lot of people, but it was unfortunately the dream car for a lot of thieves. So unfortunately, it was so hard to keep them. People bolted them to the ground, they chained them to the axles, they tried everything, but people still stole them. And that's probably what's going to happen to Hellcats in the future.
Okay, now it's on.
You can drive it like that with that much wheel arch tuck.
It's Lamborghini brake rotors.
Yeah. Well, so these aren't they supposed to be Lambo motored? I don't know anything about these. I'm not going to lie. I don't know anything about them at all.
Oh, listen to it. Nice.
Yeah.
RS 666.
So you don't get these in the US?
No,
Really?
not that I'm aware of. If they do get them in the US, they're super rare.
Just because you don't have wagons, or because you don't have like
Wagons are a
high-end
dying thing
Audis?
in the US now, which is just change.
Yeah,
There
wagons
should be
are
more of
fantastic.
it.
Hey, famous
What?
Mr. Rob. How's it
Who's
going,
this?
mate?
What's going on?
How's it going?
Oh, well,
How was
see a
your night?
pirate. That was the first thing that scared
That was
me.
the first thing I went to go and have a look at. Oh yeah, me too. I don't notice he didn't have a main mast up there, just in case.
Have you
Throwing that out there.
go look?
Just
Have you
in
looked
case.
close at that van?
No.
Go,
Man,
go
it's
look at it. He
amazing.
spent like 1,000 hours painting the murals on the side of it.
Don't get too close, you get
hand-painted.
pregnant apparently.
Yes, it's stunningly beautiful.
I don't know. I think I might be.
Oh, I definitely am already. We just been over the smoke shack, so we've eaten stuff right there. It's like pretty good. How was your night? Did you carry on?
Yeah, went to bed.
Oh really? I did as well.
Yes.
We're getting old, man.
And it's the Peugeot 205 Dimmer. Peugeot.
It's the Peugeot.
Peugeot.
This one.
The Peugeot.
Yeah, I thought it was a Peugeot.
It's the Peugeot. Really cool car. I mean, back in the early sort of 80s, this car was the max power version of what you could actually buy off the shelf. The Dimmer was like a high-end body kit kind of modification. And that car looks amazing today as it did back then, but you can see where the max power era came from with the spoilers, the grills in the hood look very similar to the Escort there. You get that kind of vibe.
Very aggressive.
Very angry.
It has those Testarossa strakes in the. Yeah, it's crazy.
So next up is,
Slits. Oh, okay. I thought they were strokes.
Slits.
what do we call them?
Slits.
Slits.
What are we looking at here, Ben?
So this is a Mark 1 Golf or a Mark 1 Rabbit in your country, right?
Yes, rabbit.
Yeah, these are really sort of like really sought after now. This is an early girl too, but obviously they never come at the factory looking quite like this. Late model Golf engine with a turbo on it. Like, I don't know a massive amount about Golfs apart from this is early for the chrome bumpers. Oh look, it's got a diesel badge on it as well.
Yeah.
But these are really an amazingly good-looking car. When they designed these, it was Carmen, I think, designed these, wasn't it? And they really did them. I mean, this was a car to replace the Beetle, and the Beetle was so loved that when they had to replace it with something fantastic. And this box-shaped design, I mean, that really became a look of the 70s that, you know, they never went away from. I mean, they styled all their cars to look the same, with the same sort of square ruler edge treatment. And as time's gone on, they look amazing, especially when they're this low. I mean, that is low. And this is beautiful too. The colour's understated. You know, it looks all standard on the bodywork, you know, barely sort of touched. Recaro seats, they call that houndstooth, that interior.
With matching trim on the package tray.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? Such a really nice, look at even the so it'd be a 1980 car, this would be. Look at the paint on the airbag system. Wow. This is really unusual too. This is the old style of British plates. See, it's 3D,
Yes.
which you never sort of see anymore. Some super noisy guy with his holder in the background. But look, like, it's a beautiful design. It's just amazing. It's so simple. Everything was square and designed. And when these came out, these sort of really were the car that immediately replaced the Beetle. People loved them. They were brilliant. They did heaps of miles. They did used to rust out in the end, but this one's fabulous. And this must be the nicest one I've ever seen. Colour, maybe original. Right, original
Looks like an
colour.
shade.
Original shade. But I think it's probably been touched up a little bit. But that is genuinely a beautiful Mark 1 Golf. I never thought I was going to say that about Golfs, when they were common and they were everywhere. But early Mark 1s, just serious gold. And look what's right next to it. Mark 3 Cortina Crayford.
What is a Crayford?
Now, Crayford was a company that Ford used to create convertible cars for them. So Ford really couldn't make them in-house. So they shipped every car out to Crayford. This one's a little bit of a mix between Mark IIIs. It's a little bit modified, but it's still a great-looking car. Now, when these cars went in new to Crayford, Crayford would chop the tops off them and then fit in all of the new vinyl roofs, vinyl soft tops, you know. And very few of them survived because, A, this wasn't as waterproof as you might have wanted it to be when they got older, and they had rust problems. So mixing the two things together, that was it. But yet again, this was Ford American styling cars. See the Coke bottle lines in the side? So this wasn't really a muscle car, this was your average family saloon. They came in 1300, 1600 and 2 litre. But as far as Brit was concerned, this was the car your dad drove. Not in 2-door, in 4-door. The 2-doors were rarer, much more interesting. Like this one looks sort of like an 80s or 70s style. The wheels are sort of 80s, it's got a Wildcat steering wheel on it. But this is American motoring for the British. Just like the console Capris were, and the Classics and the Zephyrs and the Zodiacs. When they released the Mark III, the Mark II was so loved. It was a square-shaped car done by Roy Hayes, I think, if it was right, or Haynes. And it was, he designed a beautiful car, but it was square. But people loved them. The 1600E Mark II Cortina was one of the most loved cars in Britain. And when the Mark III replaced it, it was going to have a hard job replacing it. So they designed it really swoopy styling. And for some unknown reason, Mark III Cortinas are really, really quiet on wind noise. You wouldn't think it because it's shaped like a brick, but somehow they're just quieter than the other Cortinas. I don't know if that's me or not. Please feel free to bleep bloop in the comments below if you think it's different. But the Mark III was my favourite car because, of course, I could only afford these, really. I couldn't afford American cars, so this was my American version. And I turned them into Dukes of Hazzard cars, Bluesmobiles, everything. My best mate was quite famous for everyone painted up like the Dukes of Hazzard. But yeah, an amazing car that most people never get to see anywhere, I guess. We'll, obviously, we're in Petroheadonism here, so yeah, there's everything. Quattros, Mercs, Audis. There's so many Lamborghinis here, you just wouldn't believe it in a million years.
So what's this unusual car up here?
Well, the Fiat Coupe, eh? Yeah. Well, Fiat Coupes, I guess you didn't get them in America. I don't know why, probably because Fiat couldn't manage to make them legal in federal states. But so these came in, I think they came in with they were 4 cylinders normally, 4-cylinder turbos, 20 valve, which is this is what I think this one is. I can't remember the other. Oh yes, 20 valve turbo. There we go. Says on right on the side. But they were beautifully Pininfarina designed. And Pininfarina really always made a pretty car. These were the 90s, you know, so they came with that swoopy sort of side cuts, which is something you don't see anymore, but I think is really pretty. And they came with these kind of mildly bug-eyed bonnets here. It's a shame this one's got the bonnet up because really it's one of the nicest style parts of the car. Really unusual, like a frog. But there's the 20 valve turbo in there. Super fast, super fragile. Gearboxes get crunchy in them, things go wrong with them, they get leaks and things, you know, but they still are an interesting car.
So it's a typical Italian sports car.
It's an Italian sports car for Italians, like, you know, like they like to go fast, they don't like them to last long, right? But they are beautiful, they really are. I mean, there's an RX-7 here, which is an unusual car in the UK as well, and that's famous for having the rotary engine, because Mazda, well, they love rotaries, so they kept them going forever. And now they've been a massive comeback. But when I was a kid growing up, you could buy these for next to nothing because they all wore the tips off the rotors, blew the rotor seals, and they were always smoky and hard to start. But these now, these are really, really coming into their own. I mean, and it's a lovely shaped car, and they drive great.
And listen to the sound.
Yeah, that offbeat rotary spinning Dorito, as we like to call them, right?
Yeah.
And like these ones are really hard to find and unusual now. But like I said, people struggled to maintain the motors, and there were very few rotary specialists. Super high revving. They come with a buzzer that tells you when you're over revving it, because you can't feel it. They're that smooth.
Oh, you can smell it.
Yeah, well, they always burn a little bit of oil.
Yeah.
Like it's a rotor sealing issue. They never really overcame it, but if you've got one that won't start, pro tip: add a little bit of 2-stroke oil to it, and it'll get a compression up to get it going. Warm ones do that. It's beautiful, isn't it? Nice style, clean, simple. Yeah, I really like them. This one's a really nice version of it too. Well, I was just finishing up with Petroheadonism here, which has been an awesome event, and I just thought I'd take time to show you this. Now, this was probably the car that all of us back in the 80s watched rallying and were just amazed by, the Integrale. But of course, this isn't actually an Integrale. This is a HF Delta Turbo, which isn't the full fat 4-wheel drive one. It was just a 2-wheel drive turbo, but still a rare car. It's got the boxed arches from the Integrale on it. and the spoilers and the wheels, and it looks amazing. What a really cool car that is.
The mirrors.
Yeah, tiny mirrors on it.
Yeah.
Just an amazing little thing. Like, this is beautifully styled, and I really like it. The guy who's done this has done a lot of time into this car. Like, it really is. Look at it.
And the Martini Racing livery colors on
Yeah.
the white.
It really pops out, doesn't it?
It does.
Like, we've all walked past this car a couple of times and just said how amazing it looks.
And I hate to keep seeming redundant, but you have the spoiler up here that's sticking straight up to try to get downforce for the aerodynamics.
Yeah.
But then you counteract it with the little tiny mirrors.
Well,
and
that
it seems weird.
It's for aerodynamics again. Look at the interior of it.
Yeah.
The interior is amazing. But you can't really see as much as you can. But Martini Racing bucket seats, the full colour code all the way through, colour coded steering wheel. Man, this thing's lovely. This is such a lot of time and effort that somebody's put into making one of these this nice.
There goes the Mustang.
Oh, there goes the Mercedes. Up on its ride now, look. Normal ride height. What a cool car. Anyway, so hopefully, well, we like this as much as we liked it, because every time we've walked past it looks stunning in white. It really is. Super cool. Super cool event. Super cool place. Cheers, guys. Well, it's been an awesome event, everybody. We've just been here at Petroheadonism in Nebworth, and what a great place it's been to go to. Been a wicked weekend, caught up with everybody, thanks to like Rob Pitts and Freddie and Ed and everybody. We just had such a wonderful weekend. Me and Jay. Yeah, Sam Hard. Just had a great time hanging out. If I missed you, it's not because I forgot your name, it's because we've had too much fun. We're just looking at the last couple of cars here before we disappear, but look at the lovely 450 SLC, which is the Mercedes Coupe. Lowered on like decent wheels. What a car, man. Well, guess it's running air ride. Like, it's just the V8, of course. Like, these are such a great styled car. Yeah, you can part the club. But these are wonderful to drive. Yeah. Oh, Clifford, the big red dog where you are, isn't it? So Clifford used to be like a big alarm company here. And these were really a well-heeled car. If you could afford to buy these, you had some money in the bank, man. These were really posh. Remember, like Bobby Ewing from Dallas. You know, these were a real flash car. This one's like lightly modified, but great looking. And they don't really need much to make them look fantastic. This was one of the best ages of Mercedes-Benz, really. So early 70s, the mid-80s, before they sort of revamped these. And since we're here, Common Gears. Look at that. I think this one won an award, right?
It did.
And what a fantastic car. All of them are lowered, but look how low they can go. I mean, it's a Beetle in a party dress, but what a party dress it is. Carmen really took hold of like the Beetle and made it into something way more fancy. Like a real going out coupe, like a real, a real beautiful. And it just shows the test of time that even now, these are just astounding. Look at the other one. So you got the two versions here, the wrap version and a kind of like a beautiful, full-on sort of retro custom version. The interior in this thing is fabulous. On the sort of big moon rims as well. But the paint, like, it probably won't come out in camera, but it's so deep and pearlescent, it's just astounding. It's got a full custom leather interior. Look at the gauges on it. It's an early Beetle gauge, if I remember right. But these are so smooth. Look at the design of the backlight, how it flows into the guard, and the engine covers, and the swoop. I mean, you think that would be lowered, wouldn't you? It's just an amazing looking car. They're a Beetle to drive. That's not a bad thing. If you think the same underpinnings of the Porsche 356 started Porsche out, they can't go really too far wrong. Of course, one of Jay's favourites and Rob's favourites, the Camaro. Like, I think this is an SS, not an RS. What if it's a Hideaway light one? Yeah, it's an SS. Yeah, Hideaway lights. Wow, man. Oh, it is an SS. Check out the sort of like, it's a beautiful car. It's a 68, right?
Yes.
Because they've got no quarter lights in them, and there are other things to tell you as well. Like the bonnet, that's really nice. But what a beautiful car. These are manual. One of the nicest looking muscle cars. People started cutting apart Firebirds to make these, didn't they?
They did.
And the Hideaway light's definitely one of the best, the most iconic on rally wheels and stuff as well. Just a really nice car. Rare to see here in the UK. But Sam Hard's tent over there with the Bentley and the Countach. Fake Countach, but a really cool Countach nonetheless. And Sam's Bentley, which just suits him perfectly. Especially the way he dresses, right? Lowered Aston Martin, sir. I mean, the quality of cars on display here are amazing. You know, really, truly stunning. I think, now that.
What is that?
Now that's a good question. I think it's a Mazda Cosmo. I'm going to guess that. Well, like, we'll have to have a quick look at this, but I'm pretty sure it's a Mazda Cosmo. Too big to be a Silvia, right?
Yes.
We're not up on our JDM cars in case you missed that general thing, but that is an
Wheels and
car.
brakes.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never actually. Yeah, it's a Mazda Cosmo. What a guess. Look at that.
It.
Yeah, fantastic. I think these are the rotary engines as well.
Yes.
And, well, all the early ones were rotary anyway. And what a phenomenal looking car. Like, this is a big JDM luxury coupe, which you can't go too far wrong about. This was Jay's favourite of the event.
It was.
Austin A30, A35 van. Heavily modified. Most famous from... I don't think you get the idea how small these are until I kind of... When I go like this, you really get the idea how small these cars are. Tiny van. Imagine like people used to have these carry along their sort of loaves of bread and all the stuff and the rest of it. Segma 4 indicators, yeah, they come out like this. Whoop. And they glow orange. The Austin of England badge. Always nice, isn't they? But what shape these are, the only thing they've done to this is take off the bumpers and smooth it in. But it's an amazing looking thing. Like bodily, it's standard, but it's beautiful. Love the pressing of the steel on the body. That's amazing. And of course, the 911. Everyone loves these. Iconic, beautiful, just phenomenal. Lovely interior. It's got the sunroof in this as well, which most people don't like, the 911, because it's small and it jams and it rusts and it leaks, but it doesn't matter. This one's phenomenal. Fuchs wheels. Yeah, it's lovely. Tartan check. Whoever thought tartan check would be back in, but it is. That's a beautiful car. Yeah, and a iconic run of the 70s thing. It's even got a skateboard to go with it. I love these. Empty wheels, just a beautiful bug, man. Right, well,